So I want to answer the question of how much value the Capital One Venture X actually provides for me. I talk all the time on this channel about how much I like the Venture X, how it's a keeper card, how it's got the positive effective annual fee, and pretty much anybody who travels should really consider it. But I've never gone through in detail and showed you exactly how I use it, what the benefits I take advantage of are, and then what the real financial value back to me of that whole package is. So I want to get really transparent about my spend and how I use this card exactly, and what that means in terms of real value for me. I'll do that right now. I want to see in dollars and cents what this card actually does for me. Because I got it at the beginning of 2024, I have 9 entire months of data that I've been tracking every single dollar on to see how I've used the card, and also kept track of the different benefits and experiences that it's also provided for me. Through 3/4 of the year, I've got so much information about what this card has already done for me that I can realistically say what 1 year with the Venture X actually makes you in terms of real money. The 4 areas I'm going to take into consideration are the sign-up bonus, everyday spending on the card, the benefits the card provides and what I take advantage of and what I don't, and of course the annual fee that you have to pay every single year to hold that card. So the first area I'm tracking for value is the sign-up bonus. The Venture X runs a really consistent sign-up bonus. 75,000 miles for spending $4,000 within your first 3 months of holding the card is what you pretty much always see as the welcome offer on this card, and that's exactly the same offer that I signed up with as well. Side note, if you enjoy the content we put out every single Monday, one of the best ways to support the channel, other than just continuing to watch the content that we make, is to use the link in the description when you apply for that credit card. At the end of the day, it makes a huge difference. When I looked at my own sign-up bonus of 75,000 miles, I'm valuing that at $750. That's valuing each Capital One mile at 1 cent per mile, which is the standard redemption rate in the Capital One portal. Of course, I could get more, and I definitely won't settle for less, but I want to have realistic, conservative estimates about the financial value this card's provided, so 1 cent per mile is what we're going to go with for everything in this video. The next category to look at is the everyday spending that I do on this card. I'll be honest, it's been the most frequently pulled out card in my wallet since I added it to my lineup. That's because unlike so many other travel credit cards where you're only getting 1x back on non-category purchases, the 2x miles with the Venture X really makes a big difference, and I'm finding myself pulling it out really frequently when it's not in a specific category that I already have a special credit card for. Because I track all the spending that my wife and I do down to the dollar every single month, I have a really good grasp of the different categories I spend in and how much we spend together every single month. I'll have it up on the screen right now so you can see my wife and I's typical spending habits and which card we try to assign for that certain type of category spend. Now, what's the result of all of that spending that we've put onto the Venture X? Given that we're 9 months into the year, I have a really good grasp of how much this card earns every single month. As of the 1st of October, in my Capital One account, I've accumulated 112,898 miles. Now from that total account figure, we need to subtract 75,000 miles that I got for the sign-up bonus. That leaves us a regular earnings of 37,898 miles that were accumulated through spending on purchases for this card. That means in a typical month, I earned 4,210 miles. That's worth in real cash $42.10 when redeemed through the Capital One travel portal. Now you could take this average monthly earning and project for the entire year on the card. That'll earn just about $505 worth of real life money that I can use to spend on travel. Now I'm going to take my spending earnings and add that to my sign-up bonus value to come up with $1,255 that this card has already provided me. And yes, these are estimates. We're not sending a rocket into space, but I think they're pretty realistic for what the entire first year so far for those two categories will provide me. $1,255 in value is pretty good, and a lot of people would just stop there and say, the card has given me a ton. But We're gonna go another level deeper because the Capital One Venture X offers a ton of benefit. In fact, I'll scroll through them on the screen right now, and while I don't use all of these benefits, there are specific ones in there that I've gotten real value and squeezed the juice for every single dollar that they're worth. I'll go through the benefits I used myself this year, tell you how I used them, and what they were actually worth to me. The first benefit is that $300 travel credit. This is a huge one to offset the annual fee. And in the first year, I used that entire credit for normal travel that I would have taken anyways. I'm assigning that $300, of course, a $300 positive value into what this card is already given. Now, the next benefit is the 10,000 mile anniversary bonus. Because this bonus technically goes into your account after that first year card member anniversary, I went back and forth about whether to include it or not. In the end, I decided to include it in my total value because it is part of what you're signing up for when you get this card. So I'm putting it in there valued at $100. After that are my trips into the Capital One lounges. You can of course check out my dedicated review videos of the Dallas Capital One Lounge as well as the newly opened Denver Capital One Lounge. When I went to Denver, I went by myself. I got a bunch of food and I got one drink there. I'm valuing the food at $15 and the drink at an additional $8, of course, accounting for those elevated airport prices. When I went to the Dallas Fort Worth Capital One Lounge, I got the pleasure of bringing my wife along with me so she could experience what that luxury lounge was like. Together, I'd say we ate about $30 in food and got 3 drinks between us, which I value again at $8 a drink. Between those 2 lounges, with everything being complimentary, the card added, in my estimates, $77 in food and drink value. Of course, it provided so many intangible benefits, but we're strictly looking at the numbers here. I also happened to stop by 2 Priority Pass lounges myself on solo trips this year. The first was the Club in Atlanta, and the second was the Club in Charlotte. Now, the Club in Atlanta was one of the poorer airport lounges I've ever stepped into. I'm not assigning any value to the food that I ate there because 1, it was a breakfast stop, so I probably wouldn't have bought breakfast at a short layover in Atlanta anyways before heading home. And 2, the food and the drink experience there was just so bad that I can't really say I got anything else out of it. At the Club in Charlotte, I did stop in there and was able to take a coworker at work in with me. We both got food, and since I'm only counting my personal value added, I'll credit that for $10 worth of food that I ate in that lounge. Now, because we're talking about lounges, here's a little recent pro tip that's just entered the Capital One space. Because the Escape Lounge Network has signed a deal with Priority Pass, you now have access through your Venture X to Escape Lounges as well. Escape Lounges will add about 15 different airports to your network in the United States and just provides another good quality lounge that the Venture X will get you into. So I'm very excited for those in the upcoming year of travel. Another benefit the Venture X has unlocked for me in the past year is my TSA PreCheck status. I went and got that done. It was an $85 charge that was then credited back to me through my Venture X benefit. That's an $85 value that the card has provided this year. Now let's talk Hertz and their President's Circle status. I had 2 trips this year that I had to take rental cars for 1 day's worth of rental. I typically book a standard class car rental. Those range for about $55. However, with the President's Circle status, which is the highest that Hertz offers, and that's given complimentary with a Venture X card, I was able to get a free class upgrade. On both those rentals, I was taken from standard to the SUV class, which is worth about $30 every single time. Through 2 trips, that provided $60 in value to me. The last feature I took advantage of was price drop protection. On 1 trip I booked this year, Capital One located a lower flight price for the same itinerary within 10 days of my booking. Because of that, Capital One credited me $20 to make up that difference. Now, I just want to note that while there were a lot of benefits I used, there are also so many other smaller benefits on this card that I didn't take advantage of. I just want to mention those 3, and the first being the different Capital One offers that they give you inside of your account. My editor and his wife personally love them, and I have other friends who use them too, but for me, it wasn't anything that I got real value from myself. The second was the Lifestyle and the Premier collection of hotels. Those offer $50 and $100 experience credits respectively, and I just didn't happen to travel or vacation to a place where it was convenient enough for me to book one of those properties. Finally, I tried to use and get benefit from cell phone protection, but as I talked about in an earlier video, my Lightning port not working wasn't something that was technically covered under the cell phone protection policy, so I was denied being able to take advantage of that benefit for financial gain. Of course, finally, in part 4, we have to subtract the annual fee. $395 is what Capital One charges to hold this card every single year, and you pay that in the first month that you're holding the card. That leaves my total value that this card will provide me in my first year of $1,510. Now that is an incredible 1-year value, and even looking ahead, I want to subtract the $750 for the sign-up bonus because I'll only get that one time. And with that out of the picture, I look forward to every single year from here, and I know that this card should provide around $760 for me just in positive value. I know that that reason alone is why I plan on having the Venture X as a keeper card for life, and why for people who travel at least 1 or 2 times a year, I look at this as almost a must-have card in their wallet setup as well. Finally, I want to give a final reflection looking back as I was going through my previous year with the Venture X. I know how I personally look at it, but I also know for those of you watching this video that there is a difference between the value that I said I got for some of these experiences and different benefits, and then what I actually would have done if I didn't have this card. I decided to include things like the value of the rental upgrades through Hertz, or the value of the food and drinks in the Capital One lounges, even though I recognize I wouldn't be paying for those upgrades myself if I didn't have the Venture X, and I wouldn't spend all this extra money at eating at the airport if I didn't have it given to me for free through the Venture X. Some people will say those are extra benefits and you shouldn't count them, but for me, it's all part of the experience, and this card opening doors and just allowing me to enjoy travel and different trips a little bit more. So I want to put that in there because that's one of the reasons that I got the card in the first place. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.